For the first time in a while, I'm doing this as an off-the-cuff kind of video. This is one of them ones where I'm literally watching through the show, totally not watching it for like the fourth time. And I'm picking up on certain little nuances that I didn't beforehand. I know I was just itching to say that word. But it pertains to the character Anthony Larusso. Now, I have said for a long time that if you go all the way back to Season 1, when after Miguel and Sam have their little lovers tiff moment, and Amanda and Sam leave, and Anthony says, it was just starting to get good. There was a seed there. There was a seed there that was planted. And I think now we're starting to see that seed take shape. Now, as much as I enjoyed the fact that Kenny put Anthony on his arse, and I really am on board with Kenny's story and I'm invested in that, in episode 7 of season 4, there is a lot in regards to Anthony's relationship with Daniel that really defines the complexity of their relationship to me. And I think what really sticks out for me is the fact that this whole show, Sam and Daniel and Amanda, they have all these great memories of Mr. Miyagi and everything, but Anthony doesn't. And I was saying before season 3, the reason Anthony might be, for all intents and purposes, the loser sibling of the kids is quite simply because maybe, just maybe, the attention has all been given to Sam, and Anthony's been kind of left in the dust. He doesn't have that attachment to Mr. Miyagi, to the mythology, to the legacy, and, you know, he reminds me a lot of those characters where all you hear about is what's been bestowed upon you, this honor, what a privilege. Think of, the best example I can use is Harry Osborn from Spider-Man. Think of that Sam Raimi trilogy. Think of the fact that, you know, he was going to a public school and he, you know, his dad was driving in a Rolls Royce. You know, he didn't want to show up like that. That wasn't him. He flunked out of every private school he was sent to because he didn't feel like it fit him. That's totally what I can see Anthony being in this journey. Now, don't get me wrong. Throughout the season, Anthony's been a dick. A real dick. And it's not like it's new. He's been a jerk in previous seasons. But I do feel like there is potential here for a long-term character arc, which I think you're going to start to see a lot of. And there are moments, after he pays the guys to do all the cleaning for him and all the shortcuts, I think it also speaks volumes on his relationship with Daniel, and that they have never really had that bond that Sam and Daniel have had. As we see in Season 1, the flashbacks to Sam and Daniel training, you know, even though Daniel tried getting Anthony involved, Anthony was quite content with his video games. And there is a scene here, after he pays the guy to clean the car and Daniel tells that guy to bugger off, Daniel storms off and just says, go back to playing your video games. And that there communicates to me that Anthony has been the subject of second fiddle. Now, not necessarily of, oh, okay, you prefer Sam over me, not that kind of thing, but where Sam is the golden child. Sam is the one that gets all the appreciation, love from Daniel and Amanda. Anthony gets bugger all. That's what I'm getting from this. I feel like that. Now, as much as we all love Sam and Sam is the GOAT, all that kind of jazz, I feel like with Anthony here, the problem is all he's ever heard about is how great Mr. Miyagi is, how great his father was, you know, living up to the legacy of his father. You know, he probably feels like he pales in comparison. He probably feels like he falls short of the mark. It's these kind of little details that I'm starting to pick up upon now. And then it's brought full circle when he's walking into the back sort of dojo space of the house, where Daniel has the scroll in the box and he has all the memorabilia, him beating Mike Barnes, celebrating with Miyagi, beating Johnny, you know, all that kind of stuff. And a flashback plays, and there's a reason this flashback plays, because it's very symbolic of what Anthony is going through. Now, Anthony looks at the picture of Mr. Miyagi, and it cuts to, alright, Lapusso, let's see some of those moves, bust out some of that Miyagi shit. And I think that is the crux of Anthony's problem. Because of his surname, because of people knowing who his father is, there's that legacy and that history that's been forced upon him to the point where he doesn't know how to deal with it. He doesn't know what to do with it. And it's too much for him. And I think his desperate cries for attention, for, you know, hey, Daniel, I'm your son too. Hell, you could even relate it to Robbie. Instead of taking, you know, going the extra mile and bringing Anthony under his wing, he just went for Robbie. He could have tried more with Anthony, but he went for Robbie. Now, obviously, as much as I love Robbie, You see what I'm saying? Anthony's always playing second fiddle to someone, whether it be Sam or Robbie or even now. And it doesn't excuse him from what he's been doing to Kenny, but this is a prime example of peer pressure from bullies creating other bullies. And this is what this show does so well, is Kenny and Anthony. I can totally see these guys in the future, both sitting there playing computer games together. I can really see that. But this flashback here plays, and there's just a moment with the direction that Anthony has, right? The direction is he looks sort of to the side, faintly, almost as if he's taking it in, he's taking it all in. And it's moments like that, details like that, that I love picking up upon, because they symbolize so much in such a short time, where it tells you exactly what the character's thinking, exactly what, you know, is in their head at the time. And the direction that Griffin, who plays Anthony, has, is he sort of looks down to the side a little bit, like, you know, like there's a burden on his shoulders, there's a weight that he can't shake, there's a big full-on shift that he can't get rid of, and it's been bothering him for years. And as I said, normally that wouldn't, like, that's already a huge task as it is, but then you've got all the attention for Sam. What about Anthony? And it's brought full circle when Ralph's I think cousin, I think, or sister, correct me down in the comments below, but one of Ralph's family members played a character in the show that was, you know, had the notepad and basically said, hey, you know, you favor Sam over Anthony, that's the problem. And I really feel like a lot of people could probably relate to Anthony. You know, when Daniel storms off and says, just go back to playing your video games, it's almost as if, you know, and I love Daniel, I really do, but Daniel has a lot of that Johnny complex where they don't always know what to say to their kids. You know, Johnny may know what to say to Miguel, but he doesn't know what to say to his own son. Daniel may know what to say to Robbie, but he doesn't know what to say to his own son. There's again, another parallel, very symbolic. And then there is a moment when he looks down, he opens the box, he picks up the scroll, and on the scroll, there's important information there. Now, I'm pretty sure that's the one Chosen gave him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the same one. And on that, I'm not sure what it translates to, but this for me is a Chekhov's gun. Now, if you don't know what a Chekhov's gun is, it's basically, you know, excuse the film nerd in me coming out. It essentially means if you introduce a gun in the second act, be prepared to fire it in the first act. It essentially means you're putting something there to be paid off at a later point. And that's what I feel that is. Anthony, being of all people, finding that scroll means something. That means something for the future. And this is when I do my theories. I try to do it based on stuff we can quantify, and I don't like to go outlandish and do crazy stuff. But also, there's a point here where I'll link it back to, I'll give you an example. In season 2, before the school fight, Robbie's rummaging through Johnny's possessions, and he finds a picture that says, "To Daddy, I love you, Robbie," something like that. What's happened now? Robbie's come home. For all intents and purposes, he's come home. Because that set it up. That scroll right there that Anthony was reading, there is more to that. I think something will definitely happen with that. Something will happen with that. I think Anthony's definitely one of them characters that's going to really shape up to be really good. And I always had it pegged that Season 5 was going to set up Season 6, the endgame. I think this season is where all the seeds are. I think as much as this season isn't my overall favourite in comparison to the other three, I think there is a lot in this season that lays the groundwork for what's to come. It's essentially the Avengers Age of Ultron of the series, if you know what I mean by that. Where Age of Ultron, maybe not a lot of people love it, but there's a lot of seeds that are planted that are paid off in Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, all the spin-offs, like they're all paid off because of what that movie set up. So this season has set up a lot of good foundations for characters. Now, I don't know how long the Kenny and Anthony beef will last, but one thing I do know for sure, Anthony is being set up for a huge arc, and Daniel even says to him here, right? Daniel even has a moment where he says, "Mr. Miyagi just laughed. They said that you were going to be a handful, and that someday you'd also be the one who'd be protecting this family." That tells me instantly that's another Chekhov's gun. Anthony is being set up for something huge, and it's crazy to think, but they've been alluding to this since season 1, and I'm actually excited to see where this is going to go. I didn't pick up on this the first time, but this is why sometimes rewatching stuff, you pick up on stuff that you didn't beforehand. So I genuinely feel like Anthony is being set up for something. Now, it might not necessarily be whooping Kenny's ass, because as much as we all like Kenny, we can all relate to as well. You know, there are no bad guys or good guys in the show for all intents and purposes. The main villain is life. And again, I can see Kenny and Anthony burying it down the line. But as of this moment, as of right now, there's something I just feel, like a gut instinct feeling, is telling me Anthony's meant for something. The minute he, you know, just wanders through the back dojo, looking at the pictures, and then Griffin sort of, you know, takes it all in after the flashback, and he looks down to the side. I think he just encapsulates everything that's going through his head. And then he opens the box and picks up the scroll. And then Daniel says, someday you'd be protecting this family. There is something to that. Guys and girls, jump in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree with any of the points I've raised. And what do you think is on the store for, What do you think is in store for Anthony? What do you think is on the cards for him? I think there's a lot there for him. I think there's a lot that's going to happen. And he's bloodline. You know, Robbie's the bloodline of Johnny. Sam's the bloodline of Daniel. I mean, Anthony, you can't leave him out of it and bloody have Bert and Nate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it only makes sense to include him in the story going forward. So I'm excited to see where he goes with this. And you know, Griffin is a good actor. He's come up in the years, you know, and I feel like there's a lot of potential there already at such a young age. The direction, I love like little details like this. You know, he's just walking through the dojo, and there's just a moment where he faintly looks at the side after looking at the images. It's just that little moment of acting which really cements what's going through this character's head. Love it. Fantastic. Guys and girls, I'll see you in another video soon. 7K can't come soon enough. And, well, it's an Anthony video, so... Oh, I've never done an Anthony video. This is interesting. You see what I mean? Even I'm doing Anthony videos now. This is where his character's going to go. Sick. Oh, this is tough. Oh, what can I do? What line? Oh, I want to give him one of his season 3 lines, maybe. Where he appeared and he was like, I thought you were smarter than that.